Well, thank you. I had the opportunity to come here as a visitor at the January meeting, and I literally was just getting started. I decided about a year ago that maybe a little bit more than a year ago, that I had something I wanted to say, but he was going to hear me. I probably ought to write a book, and then grow from that point. Probably a lot of the people that are here, your authors. A lot of people will ask me as I'm out doing my thing right now, I guess you're an author, and I say, well, I guess I am, but in reality, I'm a businessman, and I'm choosing to use this book as my 6th company that I'm going to take national and international. And so I'm looking at this just like I would look at one of the other businesses that I took national and international. And so one of the first questions that I always ask when people are talking to me is this a business for you, or is it a hobby? And it's okay either way. It's okay either way, because what matters in life is if you're happy. And so that's why I asked the question, what is it that you want? Set up my own publishing company. I had heard a lot of stories. I'd read a lot of information. I really, truly did a lot of research in what is out there for this whole business, because I was looking at it as a business. And I realized that I didn't like the idea of going to a publishing company. That doesn't mean that that's not right for a variety of people, but for me it was not the thing I wanted to do. So I researched the publishing industry, I researched the self-publishing industry, and I came to the conclusion that for me and my business background, my resources that I had, it made sense for me to set up my own publishing company. So I set up my own publishing company along the way, and I literally picked up the books from the printer on October the 10th, 2011. And I left for New York City on October the 11th, 2011. Yes. Depends on where you're going in life. As that business person, I said to myself, I have something I want to say. When I was here in January, I had sold maybe 100 books, and I'd given away maybe about 300. Maybe 200, excuse me. I'd given away about 200 and sold about 100. So when Toby called me and she said, would you come talk about marketing your book? I had talked a little bit about marketing because that's really been my area of expertise all my life. I thought, I don't know anything about this business. I'm just getting started. But we talked, and I said, sure, I'll be glad to. And so 3 months ago, I'd sold 100 books, given away about 200. Today, I've sold over 5,000 books in the last 90 days. And I didn't know this. I'm sure all of you know this, because I didn't know this when I first started this whole thing, that 3 million books approximately get released each year right now. And 97% of those 3 million books sell less than 500 copies for the life of the book. 97%. It's huge. So, only maybe 1% really have huge sales volume, and the other 2% have reasonable sales volume, and then 97% have, and now this is a past history piece of information that I'm sharing, because I believe that we're about to change the world, and I think we can make a big change in that. But what I did in order to sell 5,000 copies is I did what I would have done for all of the other businesses that I've ever taken national and international. And one of the reasons you see me having this set up the way that I have it set up here is because I want you to see, you may have been out and done plenty of book signings, and some of you may not have. And I just wanted you to see, this is what I do when I go set up at a bookstore. And this is how I do what I do. And this is how I've sold 5,000 books. Number one, just like I'm doing right now, and naturally I'm talking to you, so you wouldn't expect me to be sitting down, but I've done a number of book signings where there's been more than one person. And you know what the book or the event coordinator would say to me, or when we would talk about getting all set up? They would ask me, I'll bring a chair out for you, and I would say, I'm not going to sit down at all throughout the term that I'm here. And he said, and he, she, a variety, because I've done, in 90 days, I've probably done at least 30 book signings. And not all here in Phoenix, but I've been to Tucson, I've been to Flagstaff. I'm going to Flagstaff again this coming week. I'm doing a little tour of, I'm doing Sedona on Wednesday. It's called The Worm. Then on Friday, I'm doing Hastings in Prescott, and Saturday, I'm doing Hastings in Flagstaff. But here's another key that is really important to this, is how I've done what I've done, is I have 2 radio interviews and 1 television interview that I'm doing along with those book signings. And I never go do any of that unless I set all of that stuff up along with. And anybody know the magic of how I'm getting radio and television set up prior to book signings? I called them and asked them. That's the magic. That really truly is the magic, is I called them and I asked them. I obviously am using, yes ma'am?
Call who?
The producer of the show that I want to be on. The producer of the radio show or the producer of the television show. All you have to do is, if you have a particular show that you want to be on, that you think fits you, call that station and ask who is the producer of this particular show, and they'll tell you. You may have to call more than once. In fact, I'm almost positive that you will call more than once before you get that person on the phone, and then you have to give them a good reason as to why they should have you on. But local interest is a huge key. Any local radio station, local television station, they want to be known as promoting local events. They want, they're part of the Chamber of Commerce, which is always wanting local events that are happening. So by the fact that I'm going to be in their city doing a book signing is a local event. And if you talk to them nicely, they're likely going to give you, depending on, as an example, at 12 o'clock today, I am going to be, I literally have, maybe some of you will help me pack up at the end, but at 12 o'clock today, I'm doing an hour-long interview on the #1 station in Albuquerque, New Mexico, talk radio. In fact, the gentleman that I talked to last week, he said that this station is the very first station that ever did talk radio, and they're based in Albuquerque. But I'm doing an hour-long show with him today. So just like I mentioned before, you know how I got that hour-long radio interview? I asked. Presented my case. I told them why. And, I have the good fortune to be able to say that February the 18th, I became #4 in the top 10 on the Amazon list of mental health. And so I had sold so many books that week that I became #4 of the top 10. So I get to say that now, that I'm a top 10 selling author, and that helps, but that isn't the overwhelming key. It's the fact that I asked. And that's really what you need to do. Don't go grab people. I don't like that style of selling, so to speak. I don't like to grab people and bring them in and force them to talk to me, whether they want to talk or not. I'm just here, and I try to look at people as they come by. I try, if they want to speak to me, then I certainly try to engage them. And I try to be friendly. I try to be, smile and really engage them and act like I'm interested in them. And so, because I have the good fortune, I truly am. I'm really interested in other people's lives and what makes them tick. That's why I wrote this book. Is I'm a student of human nature, and so I've always liked to talk to people and really understand what makes everybody tick, what makes me successful, what makes somebody else successful, what stops someone else. Before we really start talking about marketing, I always say, anything that you're going to do in life requires a good, healthy mindset. You got to be happy. You got to be happy and healthy and really engaged in what you're doing. And if you don't have your mind right, then you're never going to be happy doing what you're doing. And so what's the point? So the first order of life, in my opinion, is to have a good, healthy mind and a good, healthy attitude towards life and where you're going. And that's really what my book is all about. But this gratitude coin, as an example, if I'm out at a restaurant. Last night I had dinner at a local restaurant. I went to actually get some pizza last night at a place called Oregano's. Yeah. And I always, if somebody's done a great job in helping me, I give them one of these gratitude coins and I say that you did a great job. And I want to give you this gratitude coin as part of that. And I tell people this coin has magic in it. If you touch it every day, it'll remind you to be more grateful. Being more grateful will make you a happier person. I tell people as they, because I have them laying here, I encourage people, please take one, not only for yourself, because if you really want the magic, you have to touch that coin every day. Because that's what will give you the magic, is reminding yourself every day to be more grateful. And I tell people, please take two, so that you can pass it on to someone else. All of you, if any of you have not had a gratitude coin from me, please take one today, or take two, so that you have that. But what do you think is on that gratitude coin, besides the fact it says gratitude coin on one side? What else do you think is on that coin?
Your website.
What?
Your website.
You got it, my website. So that's I started passing this out because I wanted to touch people's lives. That's my whole vision of what I'm out here doing today, is I want to touch as many people's lives in a positive way as I can. But if you don't have $10 million already to get started, then you need to make money along the way in order to keep doing what you're doing. Because if you're not making money, you can't touch people. So you have to make money. You have to wrap your mind around the idea that it's okay to make money. Now, you don't have to make Bill Gates' kind of money, but you have to make enough money in order to keep traveling and keep doing the things that you're doing in order to touch people. Because that's where, go to a television station. Obviously radio I can do from almost anywhere in the United States. But when I'm doing television, I have to be in that studio with them. So that means I got travel costs that I've got to incur. But every time I go to, every time I'm on a radio show, and from time to time I'll be in studio with them, but 99% of the time I'm on my phone. When I'm doing television, I have to be there, so that costs money. Plane flight, whatever the case might be. In my case, like for instance, next week I'm going to be in Sedona, Prescott, and Flagstaff. So I am going to physically already be there when I do that television show to help promote the book. But because I do have a website, and my personal opinion is, if you don't have a website of some kind, then it's not a business, it's a hobby for you. if you're going to be in this business, you must have a website. It just has to going to be successful, and that's what you came here to hear today, I'm assuming, is how to be successful in marketing your book. So you have to have a website. I'm 57 years old. I happen to have started as a computer operator when I was 17. Been in computers all my life to a certain degree, but I'm still 57 years old, which means that I didn't, you know, when I started hearing about Twitter, I thought, man, I don't want to know what you had for dinner or where you went to lunch at today, or you know what your kids did, or I don't want to hear all that stuff. So why would I want to tell people that's what I am doing? Well, you know, that was my first impression of Twitter. And you know, same thing about a blog. I thought, I don't want to read somebody's blog about what they're daydreaming about every day, or you know, whatever. But I came to grips with all of that for myself, and I realized that I could do a blog and a Twitter feed, so to speak, as sending out tweets. And my personal choice for me is I send out what I call one content tweet a day. It's, you know, for me, I didn't want you to hear what I'm having for lunch. I wanted to say, have you told your kids that you love them today? Have you hugged them yet today? Those are my kind of tweets. And so now that I'm doing those kinds of things, I'm really good about, okay, I've set up a Facebook fan page. I have a Facebook personal page. And all of this has started happening, you know, right in the last, I'll say 4 months now that I've been doing all this stuff. So in 4 months, I send out a tweet every day. Now, every time I upload a new video to YouTube, which is another thing, if you are not using YouTube and you don't have your own YouTube channel, it's free to set up a YouTube channel. It is free. If you're not using YouTube, you're not serious about this business. So every time every time I do a radio interview, I get a copy of that radio interview, and we upload that to YouTube. We put one of my pictures in, because it's not a video, it's just audio, so we put one of my pictures up and we label it as to what radio interview it was, and that is on my YouTube channel. Yes?
Don't you have any problems with infringing rights or copyrighted, don't they?
In fact, 99% of the time, that radio station has sent me that clip in order to upload to YouTube.
Oh, it's just a clip, though.
Yeah.
It's not the entire interview.
Right. Now, you know, it's my entire interview, my entire time. But you know, I mean, interviews go anywhere from 5 minutes to, you know, I think the longest I've done is an hour. So most of them are 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You know, typically on YouTube, there's a 15-minute maximum. But if you upload enough videos and you get enough views, they wipe that 15-minute maximum away. So today I have so many videos, which I do have videos now, and I have a lot of audios, because I've done a lot more radio interviews than I've done TV so far. But I have so many, and I've gotten so many hits, that now I don't have a limit. We just put up, I don't know if any of you here happen to know a motivational speaker by the name of Les Brown. But Les Brown, very, very famous. He's been around for probably 40 years, speaking and doing his thing. He happens to have a radio show in Los Angeles right now, and a 2-hour radio show every day, from 2 to 4 in Los Angeles. And 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, I got 30-minute interview with Les Brown. And that's on my website if any of you'd like, or it's on the YouTube, but you can go to that from my website. Naturally, on my website, the little insignia of YouTube and Twitter, things are all listed on my website. And if anybody wants to go look at my website and get some ideas of what you might want to do on your website, feel free. Feel free to copy me and use anything that I've done to help yourself be successful. The more I do, the more fame that I start to build. And that's part of your marketing strategy, is you have to build some fame. Now, I had the good fortune of listening to you speak last month, talking about making sure that you take time to write, and how do you make sure that you're writing the book that you want and getting it put together. And I was really grateful that you did that last month. And that's a really important part. If you don't have a book to sell, then the marketing. But just as, remind me again? Vijaya. I'm going to get that right. Just as Vijaya said last quarter, you have to focus and make time to write your book. You have to focus and make time to market yourself. I hear a lot of people, in 3 months' time, obviously if I've sold 5,000 books, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been out a lot. So I've been talking to a lot of authors, and a lot of them say, well, man, I haven't put a website together yet. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. And I am a little piece of information that I think is gold. Have anybody of you been out to my website to see any of it? What did you think of it? When were you out there?
Right after the last meeting.
Okay. It's changed quite a bit since then.
So maybe it's different. What I noticed though is that there was your picture there and information about the book. To me, it was a marketing website.
Right, it is.
A reader's website.
Well, but that's how I've sold 5,000 books in the last 30 days or 90 days.
Yeah, what I want to say is that this is a technique that is more appropriate for non-fiction books.
And that could be. That could be.
You're selling a product. You're selling for fiction writers. It's a little bit different because of the nature.
And I get that, and I appreciate that there probably is some differences, but I'm still going to come back to say, are you writing because it fills your soul and you don't care that you sell 10,000 copies of your book? Or are you writing because you want people to read it? Because if you really want people to read it, you have to start thinking a little bit more about the marketing aspect of life. That's just a personal opinion, and I'm going to be gone in about an hour, so you can do anything you want to do. But in my personal opinion, today we're talking about how do you sell more books. And I believe that you have to
market your book. I agree with that.
Little story that I passed out to everybody. I encourage you to take the time to read that. There's about 5 pages there, but that's a lady that had done a lot of similar things as to this John Locke, but she's done something a little different than than he did. He sells all of his books for 99 cents. Now,
excuse me, are they Kindle?
Yes.
E-books?
Yeah, they're e-books. I'm actually going to put on a 2-day live event, and that's one of the reasons that I passed out that also, is to show you, here's everything I'm doing to market me, my book, and these are things you should be doing also.